Hey, hey, hey. You know what time it is.
It's time for the Heart to Heart Journey to Unconditional Love podcast.
That's right. And I'm your host, Ray Bloomer. That is my co-host, Harlan Brown. And Harlan Brown, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up?
How are you? How are you doing? How are you
Oh, man.
doing?
I'm doing great, man. And we just going right to it. As you can see the screen, we were talking about image and pride. And we just
Yes.
going to get right into it. I was, I know I was on, I don't know, I was feeling it last week. And because it hit home in what I did for 10, 12, 15 years of creating an image so that I can stay employed, but not be my true authentic self as a manager in a company. And it really, I don't know, it dug into my soul, it dug into my being because I lost myself. I lost myself. And I didn't belong to anything or didn't whatever. And silly me didn't tap into what God had to say. And that's why I wish the podcast would have been around during that time, because it would have given me the blueprint on how to deal with what I had to deal with. So hopefully some others are blessed. Hopefully some others out there who are going through that can understand that walk in your purpose, walk in your identity, and don't worry about being let go or whatever. They were going to let you go anyway because what's for you is for you.
For
God is
you.
going to give you whatever you need, and He's going to supply everything that you have. So this is going to be a little different podcast because we're going to start with the scripture. Normally we don't, but we start right with the scripture. So James 4:6. Can you read that for the audience there, Harlan Brown?
Sure. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble.
Say that one more time, please.
God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble.
Yeah. Um, I will always wanted to live my life in humility and have. But there's certain things where, I got a little prideful in the image that I created. Um, and it almost ruined me. It almost ruined who I was and almost ruined the things that I've done, not only at my job, in my relationships. And man, it's very hard to uphold an image. Um,
It is.
Again, like we said, it's on hollow ground, it's on shaky ground. It's building the house with straws as opposed to a solid foundation, like your identity, or a brick house, something that, if the wind comes and blows, it's not just going to go blow right away. So we have to be careful in relationships when it comes to building an image and creating that image and becoming that image,
Exactly.
especially in a relationship. And I know I'm going to keep it, I'm going to hold it back in, I'm going to keep it in um, as far as relationships between people. Um, but the work comes in there because you have relationships at work that if you're creating an image and, you know, people won't know who to follow. They follow and they know you and they know your identity, but then they know you putting on an image at work. So I guess the one thing that we used to say, can they take you serious?
Right.
They can't take you serious. They can't take you serious. So
Right.
we just on a podcast, and this like I said, it's a little different. We just gonna just go and talk about things, like how God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble, and just talk about just image and again and pride and you know what happens when you build that foundation on that pride and that image. So I know you have some stories that you wanted to tell.
I think like work, just, falling back on the work thing. And I'm gonna put it in a work and a relationship type of story. So this is something
Oh,
that
spill the tea, will you?
this is something that actually I went through. I'm not gonna say always, but most of the time I was the only one that looked like me in certain situations at work. And I actually had to go to a program that was hosted by my company. So it was a media thing. It was really big. I brought someone with me who knew me, who knew me, but when we got to like this work event, I'm constantly like, hey, don't talk, don't say
Yeah.
anything. I'm not
Yeah.
that person here. Like and like I had literally on my way back, like we were sitting in a cab, like going back, and I'm just like, who am I? And I'm sure the person sitting next to me is like, who is she? And I had to question myself because I'm one person when we're hanging out, but then I'm inviting you into a world where I'm somebody completely different. And
Yeah.
so it has to be hard looking at that. And I've had not had to do that with somebody else, but I have been the person that has been who has switched identities. And to me, because I'm always self-checking, I'm like, that really wasn't fair to put that person in that position, and then have the person me constantly telling the person like on the slide, like, yeah, don't talk, just
Yeah.
just
You know,
smiling,
crazy.
just smiling, just be my companion. That you
Yeah.
can't like. So how does that make that person feel? Like, am I not good enough? Is she embarrassed of me? Like,
Yeah.
I started
Yeah.
thinking those things because I'm like putting myself in that person's shoes. Like, what would I have thought if I was if I was with me at that time?
Yeah.
And so it made me look at myself. It made me look at myself a lot differently. Um, to identify that, you know, there has to be some authenticity in in whatever you're doing, because you're going to create things. And like it was ongoing arguments about like, so who is this, work Harlem Brown or the regular Harlem Brown, or like, and I'm just like, nah,
Yeah.
now I didn't put myself in two
Yeah.
identities, and now I have to constantly defend and defend and defend. And it becomes frustrating. It becomes, I got anxious. And like I
Yeah.
said before, the criticism made me weak because I'm just like, oh, now you're breaking down my image. Now you're trying to make me feel like I'm not as important, or I'm not like at work, I'm real important. Like, you don't know, like I do this and I
Yeah.
do that. And so yeah, it calls for a lot of breakdown. It calls for a lot of like, who is this person I'm with? And um, why am I so embarrassed? And why would you take me anyway? And I'm
Mm.
just like, wow, it
Yeah.
just opened
But,
my eyes to a
but
lot.
I definitely can relate. It's very offensive to the other person,
Yes,
and it attacks their character. You tell them they're not good enough to say anything at this function that you go to because you went through a image. You created this image. They're not good enough in that image to that world you created, but you
right.
still want them to be a part of it, and you put them in a really peculiar situation,
Yes,
um, and it's offensive. And I can understand that. And that's the thing that we don't realize is that we put people in really tough situations when we are upholding an image that it's very hard for us to keep ourselves, but we expect someone else to uphold the image with us, um, when they have no clue really what's going on, or saying
exactly.
like, really, why are you acting differently? Like your true self is good enough. But a lot of times we are taught that it's not good enough, that you have to act a certain way. That, listen, I'll tell you right now, I grew up in the hood. We both grew up in the hood.
Oh
We grew up
yeah,
in the same hood. So,
yeah,
so we know it's not like it's something like it's a mystery because people who's watching this be like, we know them. We know them. You know what I
we
mean? We
know
grew up
them.
in the hood. Yeah, we grew up in the hood. And it's like, but we were both taught how to maneuver in the hood and maneuver in professionalism.
Right.
And there is a happy balance. You can have a happy balance between it, but we will also, because it protects our job. And with you, I'm pretty sure you was like, look, dude, don't mess with my money. don't, don't come in here and mess with my money. I want you to be a part of my world, but don't mess with my money. And this is where this
Right.
relationship comes in. Like, you're good enough for me when we behind closed doors and when we hanging, with our peeps. But when we get to professional and we get to where your place of employment, I gotta be quiet. I can't say
Right.
nothing. That really is a deal breaker in a relationship.
That's hurtful. It's very hurtful.
Why would
And I
you want to
and I
do?
looked at it as the person who was doing the hurting. Like I really hurt this person's feelings because I all I wanted was I wanted this person to be next to me, but I didn't want the person to say anything because I was performing for both of us. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I didn't
yeah,
need you to say
I
anything. I
got
just
this.
need you to be the silent partner and I'll
Yeah,
perform for both of us. No,
yeah,
we don't need to take any pictures. We don't need to do any of those things. You just need to sit here, enjoy the food. I'm
and
gonna
smile.
mingle. I'm gonna point back and be like, I'm with this person, and I'm gonna just like I'm gonna
Yeah,
do it all.
yeah.
And
But
so I can see that.
and what's crazy is I know it's a serious situation that you've been in, and a true situation you've been in, and I know we kind of making fun of it a little bit, but it happens in relationships.
Yes.
Currently, currently, there are people out there, and I hope they're listening on this podcast that I get it. We've been where you were at, but please walk in your identity.
Yes.
Walk in your identity, be truthful to who you are, and allow another person, your partner who you're with. That's what communication is about. They understand and know that this is your money maker. This is the breadwinner. This is how we pay the bills. This is how we go on the trips. This is how we, can afford these restaurants and afford the cars and things that we have. They're not going to do anything crazy to jeopardize that if you have that connection. But when you spring it on them and then you start acting a little different and you throw this image up that they don't even recognize, then there's an issue. And that's what we're talking about as far as um, when you're upholding an issue and being proudful of the image that you upheld. God opposes all of that.
Right.
He's like, look, you being proudful? Wait a minute. Do you understand and know that I am the one that gave you this in the first place?
Exactly. I
You
put
know?
you on this platform,
Yeah,
and I put you on this platform for a reason. I need you to be who you are on this platform. I don't
yeah.
need you to perform on this platform. This is not a
But
stage.
you know the other part to it? And you bringing in another one of my servants into your mess.
Exactly. And
Like,
you
no,
and now you're hurting my other child because you want to act, you want to
yeah.
perform. You
Like,
see
dog,
how
we
you
ain't getting down
how
like
you
that.
see how you doing? You're just doing too much.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And that's
yeah,
why I say, that's why God says, but I give grace to the humble. Because if you go in there and you show humility, and you can still be a strong person and be humble. I've done
yes,
it the last 10, 15 years. You know, I'm very humble, but I still show people that I still have that toughness. I still have that wit. I still have that um, experience that is going to help me excel at anything that I do.
right.
So it's there. So audience, if you don't get anything from this podcast, that's why we wanted to have this. And that's why it's like a little different because, a lot of times we get a topic and we have points and stuff, but we just wanted to just touch on image and pride because God opposes the proud. Uh, and he opposes proud, whatever you want to call it, but he gives grace to the humble. And we're letting you know that you can be humble and still uh, and still walk in your identity and still
Exactly.
be strong and still be the person who you felt you had to create an image to be, but your true authentic self would have been better in that situation. See, that's the point. Let me say that again.
Definitely.
We create this image that we think that is going to be best for us in that situation, but not knowing that God already made it where our true identity made the best situation for what we what we are in, you know? And a lot of
Sis.
people don't realize that. They take temporary over permanent. And creating an image is a temporary situation. You're going to be exposed. We've been saying this forever. Sticking
Yes.
to your guns, sticking to being who you are, sticking to your identity and walking in your true self is everlasting. It's forever. And it allows you to be humble where that you can get the grace of God. It
Yes.
allows you, let me say that again. It allows you to be humble where you can get the grace of God because he knows your true identity is the best situation, the best identity to handle the situation that you feel you had to create an image for,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
And I know again I'm on my soapbox, but I love this series. I
This
love talking
is
about image
serious
and
because you
it
have to
because
talk about these things. These are things that you have to look at within yourself. Like, you have to know, like, am I trying to convince somebody something that, I mean, if you walking in trying to convince, you're definitely walking into image. If you're walking in, um, being anxious about what they think of me, you're walking in image. Like, stop walking in image. Do I am if nobody is acknowledging my greatness, then I need to put some more frosting on this thing, right? So people can say, "Oh, look at this."
yeah,
Don't walk in that image because God has given us so much that we can be confident in ourselves, right? We can be
yeah,
confident in what God has given us. So we
yeah,
wouldn't live in that kind of anxiety. We wouldn't have those kind of things that we look at and trying to figure out, um, hey, is people acknowledging my greatness? If God is saying, girl, well done, I'm cool. Like, nobody has to say nothing else. If God is
yeah,
okay with what I do, I'm cool
yeah.
with it too.
And
So it's how he created us. So we need to flow in that. And when we get comfortable in flowing with that, we wouldn't care about image anymore.
yeah. And don't pull your partner in. Don't pull your partner into that mess, into that
No,
madness. Don't make them part of that chaos that you're creating. You're
no,
one. They will understand. They will understand what you feel that you have to do to uphold an image, create an image, uphold it. They'll be like, look, your true identity is enough.
yes,
It's enough. They will reinforce that. They will, give you that support that your true self is enough. And please, people, I do this podcast for that. Your true self is enough for everything you do. Not even talking about pride and all this other stuff, not even talking about image or identity. Your true self in your everyday life, whether it's with your relationship, whether it's with your kids, whether it's with your family, whether it's with your friends, whether it's with your enemies, whether your true identity is enough. It
right.
is enough. Don't go out there creating images to get the likes from people, to get admiration, to control a perception. Like, just be your true, authentic self, especially in a relationship. It goes, man, it goes far.
Yes,
It's permanent. It's forever. It's etched in stone. It's on a firm foundation. And you and that person can grow and like grow at a pace that you never would have imagined
it's very
because
true.
you don't have to worry about backing that image, continue to uphold an image that is not, it's just temporary. It's going to be exposed.
That's
I'm
so
done. I'm done. I think I've exhausted what I can say to the audience. I know they probably get mad at me, like late bloomer, please shut up about this already. But
no,
that's how
no,
passionate I feel about this because you your true self is enough. Don't ever change for anybody else because God opposes the proud, but He gives
yes, it
grace
does.
to them. humble. And he already created you in his image. You don't have to recreate another image. I'm gonna stay on that line. He wants you to walk in your true identity and your purpose. And when you walk in your true identity and your purpose, it gives you the grace to be humble. And he gives you grace in the humility that you're carrying on a day-to-day life, where you will be exalted, where everything that you do will be exalted. And you
Yeah.
don't, and you know what it eliminates? The stress, the having to protect the image,
Yes.
having the just burden that it carries, that, oh my God, I got to put on my show again. You don't have to put on a show if you're your authentic self. So I'm on my soapbox. I'm not going to say anything else about this all now. You take
It's
over the rest of the
okay.
show.
I think that this, it is very important that we look at this, because too many of us um can struggle in this area where we think our image is actually our identity. Like
Oh,
we cross them over and we like, oh no, that's who I am. Like, are you really? Like, are you stressed out? Are you burning out? Are you rested in this? Because if you're not, then this is your image, right? So it's important that we look at the things that we have anxiety about, the things that really
another good
rock
word.
us. So we can say,
Yes.
am I living in image or am I living in identity? When we find out, when we humble ourselves and God gives us the grace to humble, like when God gives you grace, when God gives you grace in anything, that's the
Anything.
most humbling thing that you can ever experience.
Number
You
one.
you can't even, you can't, you're just humbled like this because it's undeserving, it's unmerited, right? That he's giving you this grace in the first place. I didn't do anything to deserve it, but here it is. And so I'm humbled by it. And from me being humbled by it, I can relax in that because I know this is God's will, or this is God's will, and this is what God has for me. So I don't have to perform. I don't have to put on shows. I don't have to get overexcited. I don't have to be anxious. I can relax in it. So please look at it. Um, Learn to check yourself sometimes when you're just running on, especially if you're running on fumes, you're doing everything all the time, and sometimes you got to stop and be like, is this pride, or is, like, what is this, what am I operating in right now? And then once you get that, then you can kind of sit back and, like, take a deep breath and say, look, let me, for me it's like a prayer. It's a journal. It's something that I need to get out or talk about, and then I can go ahead and proceed and say, you know what, let me look at this from a different perspective. And then it gives me it lightens me. It takes the load off, because when you're carrying too much stuff, you don't get an opportunity to
Yeah.
think properly or think through things properly. So you got to put some of that stuff down, and you got to
Yeah.
really, you know, check yourself and see where you are.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say this again. I'm going to read this scripture one more time, James 4:6. God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. I want to be on God's grace and mercy side. I don't
Yes.
want to be on the opposition of being proud, because God opposes that. And hey, anything could happen. I know you still his child, but anything could happen. But he knows when you're humble, you're going to get that grace and mercy. And I'd rather be on that side than not. So if you don't take anything away from this podcast, please just understand, is your true identity is the best, the greatest gift that you have to in any situation that you're in. Creating an image is not going to give you, not going to put you in a better position. It's going to put you in a worse position, because now you have to protect it. You're going to have stress, you're going to have burdens, you're going to have things. There's going to be things that exposes it, like if you get angry, if adversity hits, if grief comes. Now it's something else is going to come out, but your true authentic self is the best course of action for anything that you do, especially in a relationship.
Yes.
And don't let nobody tell you differently. Everybody's relationship is different. Everybody's relationship is unique to themselves. Yes, I don't mind looking at another couple and saying, oh man, I wish I had that. But I'm also going to say, I wish I had I pray that I have what I have that God has given to me that's unique for me and my
Right.
partner who's unique to herself, unique to himself, partners who unique to whatever, because it's okay to want to be like somebody else, but you're not those people. Your personalities are different. Your everything is different. So your uniqueness is what makes your relationship personal, personal. Whereas
That
you want it to be your relationship, not somebody else's, and not mirrored after somebody else's.
never.
I don't think they got that. I don't
I
think they
think
got that all about.
they
And I
have
know
to
our time is up.
because
Our time is
no,
up.
we no, our time is not up. You can say that one more time because it got to be unique to you. Like you can't. We can admire how lovingly somebody gets along or how playful somebody is, but at the end of the day, don't you want that authentic playfulness and lovingness in the way that you love and the way that you are playful and the way that you create your own relationships? It's
Yeah,
it's an admired style. It's not a mirrored
yeah,
style. So
yeah.
we gotta know that. Come on, say what you said again. Let me stop. You go ahead.
No, and I'm going to put it in great. I'm going to put it in a different term. Michelle and Barack. You're not Michelle and Barack. They have something great that's unique for themselves. I know you want to pattern yourselves after that. Nothing wrong with that. But you're unique in your own selves. Pattern yourselves after who you are with your partner and the uniqueness that you bring together.
That
Michelle and Barack, they have their own thing. Stop wanting to be like them. Be like you and your authentic, unique self that God gave you. The identity he gave you because he already created you in his image. You don't have to create another image. Be
yeah,
that authentic person, that identity that he gave you, walk in that purpose, and be that with your partner and be your own relationship. So people can say, we want to be like them, but you tell them, don't be like us, be like your own
like,
unique selves. That's
yeah.
all I have to say. I'm done. I'm done. Where's the music? Where's the music? Where's the
The
music?
music.
I can't do this anymore. Look, try as we in all the podcasts, trying to do something to keep you in your same place, but when you actually do something, your place has no limitations. I am your host, the late bloomer. That is my co-host Harlan Brown, and we see you next week.
See you
Yes,
next
yes,
week.
yes.